B'shus Darav, B'shus Roshiv Rabbeim, Kinoga B'kaf Yerach Yaakov. So the angel got Yaakov in the legs. Lucky strike. Right? Why the legs? Right? Is there a particularly, from that we got the Isra of Gid Anosha. Okay, look, we saw the Gid Anosha. Because Kinoga B'kaf Yerach Yaakov Ve'av Koimo. Right? So go back to the beginning, literally the beginning. Parshas Vayishlach. The Adam is Nechshov and Chet Eitz Hadas. So now the Rebbe Shalom is setting up the ground rules of how things are going to go from now on, and he gives everyone their curse. So the Nachash is told Al Gachoncha Telech. You're going to slither. You're not going to, which Chazal understand from that. He used to walk. He had legs, right? And they were cut off because he was Machshel Adam Marishan. Now, what's the Mida Kneged Mida? There's Machshel Adam, so now he loses his legs. Right? But it gets a little bit more interesting. So now the Rebbe talks about Veva Oshis Ben Chav Ben Zara. Right? There's going to be now adversity, between the snake and all the children of Chava. Right? That Hu Yeshuf Charosh Va'atat Shufenu Akev. Right? Man kills the snake by the head. The snake kills man at the heel. Right? Okay. Right. So let's think about this for a second. What do you need legs for? No kidding. Right, but let me ask you something. If you had everything you needed, right? They brought your food to your bed, right? And you never had to flee danger, right? And you were perfectly satisfied where you were. Would you need legs?
Yes.
What?
Use some legs.
Excuse me?
Use some legs.
Why?
Because there's more. If you don't have legs, you're not gonna be able to try and do Learn Torah.
They'll bring my safer to my bed.
Yes,
Right? Is that what you guys do? What?
You gotta sky that way.
What?
You gotta sky that way. So why would you want that?
Well, that's right. But the question I'm really asking, right? Adam Marishan, right? In Gan Eden, right? His food was everywhere. There was no danger, right? There was no better place to be. What do you need legs for? You're okay where you are, right? What's the point? Right? So the pasuk says, "V'salticha mahalchin ben ha'omdim ba'eleh." Pasuk in Zechariah, right? The Adam is how you have walkways amongst these who stand. The angels are called the ones that are omed, they stand. The Adam is called the holech. Why? Because the big advantage that the Adam has that the angels don't, right? Which is the reason why we got Torah and they didn't. Why did we get Torah? Moshe Rabbeinu went up. He had to debate the Malachim, right? Klum kina yesh benechem, klum sin yesh benechem, right? The power nishtabaratem, all types of bad stuff. We could be slaves to someone else, and we have really bad midas, right? And I'd give the Torah to the Malachim. The problem is they didn't have a Jewish lawyer like we did. I know, it's crazy. Moshe is making an argument why you should give the Torah to the Malachim, because they're perfect and everything is honky dory for them. It's easier to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you never have to be meshubet to someone else, right? You don't have all these bad midas. But the answer is like this, right? The tachlis of the Torah that was given to mankind was to progress. Right? An angel doesn't change its programming. The way it's created is the way it is, and its programming keeps it set on that track. We are dynamic. We progress. Now, the critical way in which we progress is that we face off with the Yetzer Hara, we defeat him, and then we conquer whatever we faced off with. We conquer it from Malchus Shamayim. We cause the world, for lack of a better word, to evolve into a better place because we face off with the evil, right? And also in our Tikkun Amidas. So there's a net gain for Malchus Shamayim if you actually face off with the Ra, because you conquer it and you add it to the Tov. Right? And this is the secret of what it says. First time it says at the end of Ma'aseh Bereshis. It says Elokim Kitov, Elokim Kitov, Elokim Kitov. Then it says at the end, everything he made. And it's Hine Tov Ma'od. So what does the Medrash say on that? Tov Za'achayim. Tov Ma'od Za'amisa. Tov Ze'itzar Tov. Tov Ma'od Ze'itzar Ra. And all the bad stuff. That stuff is the very good. What does that mean? Because the world that God created is good. But our job is to make it very good. And the way we do is that we face off with all these things he left unfixed. And we face off with them and we conquer them. We overcome them, and then they're annexed onto Malchus Shamayim. And we convert a world that's Tov to a world that's Tov Ma'od. When we face off with all the adversity, all the bad stuff that's out there. Right? And that's what it means. Ma'od is the Oisius Adam. Because that's the mission of man. Right? You face off with all the Ra in the world, and you convert it to Tov. And that's what we call progress. That's how we progress. That's how the world progresses. And it goes literally, Yelchu Mechayel El Chayel, Yelchu, walking, progress. Right? Man was given legs not for the sake of running around in the rat race, of seeking his parnasa, not for the purpose of, avoiding danger. Right? None of this was supposed to happen. Right? But we were given legs for the idea of making progress. We're not going to be in one madrega. We're going to move from madrega to madrega and madrega. That's what the legs represent. Halichos omlo, al tikra halichos el halachos. Why is Jewish law called halacha? Walking. You're supposed to take it to grow with it, not just, be stagnant with it. Just stay in your lane, right? You're supposed to use it to progress and to go mechayel ochayel. So now the Nachash ruined all that for us. Because now our legs mainly serve to, participate in the rat race, literally. Seeking our parnasa, avoiding danger, right? And because our situation is not so good, the world is, cursed because of Chet Adam Rishon, so we also have to sometimes move to a better place, right? But not necessarily a higher place. And that's what it means, that he lost his legs, because now, because of him, we use our legs primarily to seek our parnasa, avoid danger, and seek pleasure, not its intended use. Right? But it didn't, not its intended main use. It always remains be'etzem for that purpose. But the problem is now legs have become quite defiled. We use them to chase after our parnasa, right? Which is a total direct outcome of Chet Eitzadas. Right? So now you got to run, hard to make a living. You got to run around. So now mankind came up with an idea to make that easier. Right? If you have to grow your own food, and you have to make your own clothes, you have to make your own shoes, right? You'll never have everything you need. What do we do? What did mankind invent? He invented the shuk, the market. So you go to the market and you trade goods. Right? Now what makes something more marketable? Marketable. What's marketable? It moves. It moves. Right? You've got a sucker lined up that'll take it off your hands. And if he has a sucker that'll take it off his hands for a higher price, and there's another sucker lined up behind him, that's already called valuable. Right? It moves. Zuzin, right? Money, Lashon Zaz. Right? That's how we circulate goods. So we exchange and goods move. It's all using the legs, mobility. Right? Money really is about stuff circulates. Right? Till someone realizes why we're doing all this for, and that's when the market collapses. Right? Right. Right. So now the legs becoming what they became because of Chet Adam Rishon. Right? It's where we're most vulnerable because it forever remains what makes us unstable. We're not solid in one position. That's angels. Now we're supposed to be, mobile for progress. But we remain mobile, but mobile also means you could progress, you could regress. You're mobile, you could trip. Right? If you stand still, you don't trip. You'll be nichshol. Right? So now that's what it means. Now another thing, think about, right? Legs furthest away from the head. Right? It's the one thing you really could use without thinking. If you had to think every time you took a step, you wouldn't get anywhere very quickly. When you do something without thought, What's that called?
Regilus.
Regilus. Right? Correct. Lashon Regel. Right? So, you could run and run, people run and run without any direction. Movement without any thought out sense of direction. That's what leads to chaos. And that's what we have is Manenu. A lot of movements. Well, it's climate change. There's a lot of people running, and a lot of money is circulating, but without much thought. Right? So now that's what it means. Hu Yeshuv Chorosh. We kill the snake with the head. You know how you defeat the Yetzer Hara? You think. You kill the snake by the head. It means you gotta not go through life without thought, like sleepwalking. You use your head. That's how you kill the snake. Okay, but he gets us in the heel. He gets us where we're vulnerable to him is in the legs, right? The things that we do without thinking. We run for our parnasa and we forget why we were born and what we're living for. That's what it means he gets us in the heel. And that's what it means, Hani birki drabanan the shalhi minayu, who the Gemara says, right? The shadim, they get you in the legs, right? That's right. The kaima, the rabbanan, the legs of the rabbanan are always tired, always stubbing their toes, right? The shadim, they get you in the legs. That's the part of you that's, furthest away from the head. That's where we're vulnerable because that's where we're unstable, right? And that's the secret. Vatika kafir Yaakov. So by no coincidence, he got him in the legs, right? So now the Torah came to better our situation and gave us, amongst the other things, the mitzvah of aliyah l'regel, right? Right? Aliyah l'regel, you know what that's to go back to Eden. That's what it is, right? You leave your parnasa behind, right? You abandon your fields, like, because it's a nace. That when everyone just goes to Yerushalayim, the Torah says it, the Torah promises, no, right? No one's going to take your land away. While everyone just leaves their field, they leave the whole outside world behind. They leave the shuk behind, and they go to the Beis Hamikdash. It's called Aliyah L'Regel. And the Aliyah L'Regel really represents the journey of life, that we should be, progressing, that the way you die you should be closer to Hashem than the way you were born. You spend your life walking towards. And that's the mitzvah of Aliyah L'Regel. Right, when you go up, and you raise up the raglayim, right, and use it to go to Beis Elokim, Aliyah L'Regel, raise up the legs. But then came the Yevonim, right, and they trespassed, they broke in, uportzu chomos migdalai, they broke in the timukah shmanim, they trespassed, right, because this was supposed to be our special place. When we leave them behind, they're the world of shuk, You think about this, the shuk monetized everything that Chet Adam Rishon did. Right? Chet Rishon made it difficult to make a living. So you have to have careers to make a living. So doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, all these things, because one guy ate a piece of fruit he shouldn't have. Think about it. Right? But they come, and the Yevonim were the master of this, and they monetize this, and they glorify it. They called it culture. And the whole thing, at the best, is just a countermeasure to the problem of Chet Adam Rishon, and they come and they capitalized on it. They capitalized on the shuk. The shuk is, like we said, whatever you can move, whatever you could con someone into buying off for you. That's what's valuable. It doesn't have value bets. And it even goes on, even things of intellect. Something is only called intellectually valuable if other people, you can pass on. They want to hear it. They're willing to pay, to hear it and take it off your hands. And we're supposed to leave the shuk behind and go to the Beis Hamikdash. The Yevonim didn't like that. They're jealous. So they defiled the Beis Hamikdash. Right? So when the Tikkun came, we drove them out. We didn't just go back to the way it was. Right? We did a countermeasure. Right? They broke in, right, where they shouldn't have gone. What's the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah? Mitzvah nicho al Pesach Beiso mi bachutz. Right? They broke into the light that belongs to us, the orator, that's only for us. Umishpatim bal yidom. So now we countermeasure. We're going to take the light out from there, right, to shine out to the shuk, and that's nifla mode, right? So Yaakov, they got him in the legs, which represents all the goluyos that we're going to go into. All right, so Chazal say, anyone who's not mis'aneh on Tisha B'Av's kilu ochal gid anoshe, right? The Vatika Kafirach Yaakov is where the Jewish people are vulnerable, l'dairos. So we have Ner Chanukah as a countermeasure. What's the mitzvah? So it's a Pesach Beis Mi Bachutz, to shine to the outside world. And what's the Zman? No kidding. There you go. All right. Ad shetichle regel min hashuk. Right? It's to go and bring ore down to the raglayim where we're vulnerable. Out in the shuk. Right? Out in the golus, when we're out of our real element that we're supposed to. We have to bring the ore Torah there. So, we used to have aliyah l'regel, but now we're being prepared for golus. Being prepared, which is called darkness. Choshech. Throughout Tanakh, it's called choshech. Shraga b'tiara mayahanya, right? The door, the ner is for to dispel the darkness. That's what the Pasuk says in Tehillim. Ner leragli dvarecha. That the Or Torah is called, it's called ner mitzvah v'torah or. It's Torah or when you live in the time of Ha'aras Panim, when you have a Beis HaMikdash on earth, you're living in light all around you. That's Torah or. Then there's ner mitzvah to bring the or of Torah into the darkness, down to the legs. And that's what's keeping us going in this goal. So now, Nes Chanukah was the last Nes in our history. And that we have to live off that Pach Hashem, and not just for 8 days, until Mashiach comes. It's the last Nes that, after that, we went into this long and hard Golus of Golus Edom. Right? The guy that Yaakov faced off with in this week's Parsha. Right after Nes Chanukah, just 200 years later. Right? Went into the whole Golus that we're in right now. And Chanukah was that Hachana. Right? For it's the Refuah Kodem Lamaka of Vatika Kafirach Yaakov. And that's what the Sfarim say. Why do you go back? Why Vayivasu Yaakov Levado? Went for Pachim Ketanim. Says the Shloah Kodesh. It's a remes for Nes Pach Hashemen. It was all a Hachana. Right? He went back for Nes Pach Hashemen to get the Pachim Ketanim. Right? Then Vayavak Ish Imo Ada Shachar. Right? But we got the Refuah Karmak. We got the Ner Chanukah that illuminates, down to the raglayim, right? Out to the shuk. Regel min hashuk, right, as a countermeasure for this long and hard golus that we're in under Esav. I'll just mention one more thing. Gemara says, Me'elam lo yarda shechina lamata ma'asar tvachim. Our man space is 10 tvachim high. That's why Rosh Hashanah is only 10 tefachim high. Above that's Avir Mokum Patur. Your sukkah has to be 10 tefachim high. That's man space. That's the Aretz Nasan Livnei Adam. That's it. Our turf ends at 10 tefachim. And the Shechina represents, I meant respects our boundaries. Me'olam lo yirah Shechina lamata me'asara. Right? But Ner Chanukah mitzvah la'nicha lamata me'asara. Gemara says. Right. Not necessarily the halacha, it's the machlokas rishon where that's the halacha, but mitzvah nichol lamata me'asar. Ner Chanukah is the ortor that goes to the outside, that goes down, that goes where the Shekhinah doesn't reach. It's what's keeping us going in this dark golus. Right? So, what's the takeaway? Right? Takeaway is, you say, I'm not holding by learning right now. I'm in a bad place. Right? I'm not meyushav bedaiti, so I can't go up to the Torah. Chanukah presented that Torah comes down to you. If you need it that bad, and you're in a bad place, you're in a dark place, the Ner Chanukah goes lamata masar, it goes down to the raglayim, it goes out to the shuk. After Baruch gave us Chanukah, he precedented this idea that aside from ascending to Torah, which is aliyah l'regel by the Yom Tovim Da'iraisa, there's Yom Tovim Da'Rabbanan where we bring the Or HaTorah down. Right, to help us, ba'omek hagos, we should get out of it. B'mheira b'yameinu.
The chaver from Langrese is his brother from Muncie.
What? Yeah.
Live near Osamer.
Yeah, that's my brother.